Morning. Where am I looking? How do I look at the camera? Where's the camera? Up there? Anyway, I'm looking at myself, which is a bit dodgy. That's part of the lifestyle problem of being an artist. Hey, so I'm just going to show you a few things. Minor and major works, probably more on the dealer gallery scale, I suppose, rather than the performance stuff I usually put on YouTube. Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. I could talk about that, but might just show you some sensitive work, which can't be seen any other way. Partly because no one actually respects the artist's authorship these days. Everyone wants to curate their name and handbag logo without actually having to deal with the artist. So this is just a diary sketch, literally a diary sketch. It wasn't made as an artwork. It was made as a kind of an emotional blotter. And I went through a period of waking up weeping, crying out of despair. That happened to be honest, probably about 6 months, but the crying period was probably about a month. I've called the work "Wake Up Crying, Embody Integrity," and it's just it's done during those kind of moments, and I just recognised it and owned it, and there's a whole. I've got books and books and books and books of that kind of thing, but it's just one of, potentially hundreds of, just delicate doodles. And this is quite a amorphic doodle in that it wasn't particularly conscious. The only sort of conscious thing I did about it was the black sort of incision in between the two, marrying the two hemispheres, the two pages. So it's a diptych in that regard. But it's not a watercolor. It's actually solvents that bleed the pigments, and then the resistances between the water-based pigments and the solvent-based pigments. So it's just a wee thing that I've been doing. And this chap looks like he's lost his mask. Maybe. I mean, I didn't intend that. It just looks like that. So a lot of my work deals with sort of a sense of divination, or sort of, an uncovering, like a reading, like a dream. It could be this, it could be that. And, that's because I'm looking for truth. I'm not looking for an image. I'm not constructing a fucking identity. I'm asking nature to be my identity, my nature to be my identity. I'm not trying to tell you who I am. I'm trying to reveal myself to myself as a way of coping with myself. The light's not so great in here, chaps. I signed off on this one lately. I've actually had a large question mark over it for some time, as in, is it finished? It annoys me. And then, as if by magic, one day I didn't do anything more to it, and I recognised it. I saw it. And maybe I just needed the 6 months of, like being in an argument with it, or denying it, to accept it. And that often happens, I find, with artwork. So it's a softer, domestic work, and I think it's soft. It sort of talks around, the perennial theme I have of old brain. And, that's, let's just be perfectly clear, James. That's symbolised by the lattice work of ground down shells there. which you can see as a mind or an eye or a cluster of identities, or as shells or as lace. They're embedded in a solid glue resin. There's a little bit of rope in there, a flash of yellow. So it's a 2D kind of structure painting. I see a kind of doorway, that's sort of framed by the way I've kind of annealed the bits of surface there, and then thrown hot coals on the surface to make the burn holes, and then patch the burn holes, and then the same resin glue whipped around the place with a 18th century typeset printing ink thrown all over it. Nelson, 18th century printing ink, Swallow inks, and I fixed that. So that's where what the red is. It's an antique colonial newspaper ink, and on the back at one stage I wrote something along the lines of remembering who I am. Which is sort of what it's all about. And I like it because as soon as you have I am in a statement, in a title, you're actually talking about a great universal dimensional shift. I and thou, like the I am is all there is. And I'm a representative of it. I'm an emissary of that. I can say that quite clearly. If you can say that quite clearly, that's your gift as well. I'm not going to say that's all of us. It's an understanding I speak of. It's a state. It's not a belief. So I can't say we're all I am, because I'm not you. I don't know what you are. You may not be alive. This one's an odd work. They're all odd works. Here I am again with that same sort of theology. You are as I am, that breath and beat of my heart. So I called this work, what did I call it? I called it calling it exactly what it is, and then paraphrased, what shall we do with a life? I could have equally as called it Event Horizon or something like that, but I didn't, and names are important. What shall we do with a life is a core kind of comment or a summation of this man's thesis. Awesome stuff. So what's going on here, James? Well, it's it's a tabletop reversed with the stains of 10 years as a surface outside, and I liked the stains of the hardboard, which is the and then that is another piece of outside stuff which I also like the textures of, and shattering glass is because I was having trouble framing something for my physiotherapist. Actually, I was reading her father's poetry, who died, and identified with a particular poem, and I wanted to give her work as as a token of thanks for helping to heal me, and and respect for her father, who was a great man, and as a token of my own wanting to be healed, actually. That's why I did it. Respect the ancestors as well. So I still paid her for her physiotherapy, but sometimes we have to make offerings to the gods as well. So what am I talking about? Oh yes, right, the glass inside the smashed thing. I was having trouble framing this work, and I just threw the frame against the wall because other people should be doing framing for me, right? And sometimes they do. Thank you very much if you're a framer. I try and do it myself, and I have to reframe things 12 times because there's a piece of crap in it, or there's a stain on the glass, or it doesn't fit, or it's just endless. Fucking endless getting it right for middle class people. And that's the biggest problem of my art career, getting it right for middle class people. And losing myself. You've seen this one recently, which is totally staggering and awesome and bewildering. Here's another one, which is called Palestine. I may take it off the frame, as a sort of skin or a hide of techno warfare and profit and mass sacrifice and corruption and satanic murder and mind control. There's a sort of Egyptian soul boat in there. Met a woman the other day, lives around here. He lived in Palestine for English chick, bit of a philosopher as well. I'm looking forward to having a convo about that. I invited her to have a look at this. She lived there for, I don't know, I think over a decade, she said. I can't remember. I think she was an archaeologist, something like that. So it's pretty fucking amazing who God puts in your path, eh? It's an interesting work. Again, like a lot of my works, I actually really detested this for a long time. It's me reformatting older pieces. While my mother was dying, I did a huge series of works, and it was called A Language Older Than Time, and I showed it in several galleries. I think people enjoyed it. It was a dangly, and of course nothing sells, and it's a problem. And so I thought I'd reformat a lot of the material to try and make it, into something a little bit more recognisable for the middle class New Zealand people. Of course, my subject matters and concerns often invalidate me as a member of my country as well. I was reflecting on some of these political things with a friend on WhatsApp earlier today, who's teaching English in Vietnam, and the imperial nature of that. It's just a bit of a mind fuck in itself. Apparently the Vietnamese roll around in their pickup trucks with American flags in the back now, but are highly robotic and conformist as a people. But what am I talking about? This is a word called Palestine. It's a word of a country that I have never been to, and it's none of my business. Except it looks like a target, except it looks like a topography, except it looks like a battlefield, except it looks like something going to the underworld. Women several women have said that this is a great work and they really like it. Many people look at it for 2 seconds and walk out of my studio and ask me what I've been doing. The continual mixed message of my cultural environment, of being a cancelled male artist. Yeah. So I'll leave it be. It is a compromise work of something that was good and is now good again. What can I say? I'm a genius. Whatever I do, it's because God is great. And this one is called Nazi UFO. It's a serious work. It's not a joke. Although it's got a sort of cartoon title. But no, that's actually a serious scholarly concern. The Nazis did work on anti-gravity devices based on ancient schemas they found in Tesla information and counter-rotating supermagnets, and I think they did something with Mercury as well to get some kind of thing. I don't know too much about it, but I do listen to people that do. A chap called Farrell, Dr. Is it Stephen Farrell? No, that's my friend. Something P. Farrell. He's interviewed quite a lot, and he's Brotherhood of the Bell is a book. But yeah, so anyway, I'm just saying that looks like a fucking Nazi UFO right there. It's a bit obscure, and it looks like a sort of bloody landscape. And then coincidentally, there's this large sort of falcon, eagle, Age of Horus kind of, white patch with a big beak there. And of course, that's an Egyptian theology thing about Isis and Osiris, and we're in the Age of Horus. Crowley talked about that, the age of the crowned and conquering child. Psychologically speaking, mass narcissism. Or, reality dysfunction, however you want to term it. Yeah, no, this is a fucking good work. It's from a series called Rock Action that I did, showed it at a gallery in Christchurch, and I reworked it. I remember standing in front of this with a noteworthy New Zealand artisan, what's his name, the fucking Dead Sea guy, Bruce Russell, and I think he might have sort of humphed or snorted or something. It's sort of the dialogue I had with that man about this work, and the previous thing. So, it's great to have a community of peers. I've gone on long enough, obviously a little bit. That one's I called it Untitled, which is good. It's an incidental, and it's on the back of something. And I just learned to really appreciate it, actually. To me, it looks like some, I don't know, some primitive fucking being sitting around with a big head and a rectangle in its lap. I don't know, primitive smartphone. This one's the same kind of notion, actually. This is the oven tray, so it's called On Tray. And it's probably about 5 years worth of, residual stains that come off me drying little fragments on top of my wood burner. So, it's a metal tray that doesn't, that soaks up the dribbles on top of my log burner when I'm drying work or cooking it, because it does bubble and burn as well, alchemically. This is a serious stupid work. Seriously stupid. Sort of part of a triptych. Mother Mary, I had to give something to some cancer foundation fundraiser, and I had real trouble, being right for them in my head. So I did about 3 or 4 works actually. They got one. I did one that was appropriate in the end. That's still real, but yeah. Mum died of cancer. Well, she didn't die of cancer. She died of hospital. But yeah, this is sort of some sacrifice beast. Primordial, feminine, sort of dark, elemental sort of ritual. And I couldn't do the flat picture either, so I cut the frame up as a way of dealing with the mental problem of having to do a picture for someone else and be okay in New Zealand, and being me. So being me basically is the problem of being in New Zealand, and being me. But yeah, I did lots of graffiti on it, and it all talks around my concerns and different voices of feelings. Also a problem in New Zealand, having feelings, or indeed being an artist in New Zealand, or human even, or unvaxxed for that matter. My midden's going off at the moment. Oh yeah, this is a bit gnarly, this one. Surprise, surprise. There is a lot of beauty in this if you want to sort of apprehend what's real and what's not. Oh, upside down. Running out of walls. Yeah, this is it's a lot more graphic, I called it Underworld. I like that theme at the moment. I'm reading about it. In terms of Jung and the ancients. Underworld, spirit world, ancestor, gods, the collective unconscious, madness, gnosis. Yeah, the underworld. Look into it. Yeah, I did battle with it a bit. I probably pushed it too far. But yet there's a sort of dynamic schema going on. There's action, there's figure and force and space and portals and weather, and who am I to? Just because I don't like it doesn't mean it's not real. So yeah, it's about being true. Alright, well, I have blathered on quite a bit. Thanks.